Greetings and welcome again to One Love Center for Spiritual Living. So glad that you could be with us today. This week, we are exploring the shared unconsciousness, the stories, beliefs, and truths that live beneath our awareness and lean into the sacred unknown that calls us into collective healing. So we're living in the edge, living from the edge, and from the unknown into the known. However, before we go any further, let's have our wonderful opening song.
There's a place where love grows, where the spirit in you knows that you're welcome as you are, shining bright like every star. Come and learn, come and play in the sacred light of day. We're unfolding, growing free in the One Love family. One love, one life, one spirit divine, one heart, one life, your journey and mine, where compassion flows and grace abounds. One love, where love grows, love is found. One love, where love grows all around. Yeah. One love, one light, one light, one light, one spirit divine. Yeah. One heart, one light, one light, one light, your journey and mine, where compassion flows and grace abounds. One love, where love grows, love is found. One love, where love grows all around. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Welcome to the sacred space, where we honor every face, the splendor of the God in you, shining through in all you do. Learning, growing, hand in hand together, we will understand. Prosperous, giving, hearts set free. One love is our destiny. One love, one light, one spirit divine, one heart, one light, your journey and mine, where compassion flows and grace abounds. One love, where love grows, love is found. One love, where love grows all around. Welcome home to one love, to one love. Welcome home to one love, where love grows, yeah. To one love.
One Love. Just love that song. Yes, that's our song. So that song is about who we are and what we're about. And we are on a mission to provide a stable and welcoming community for all who choose to live, who learn, practice, grow, and play in the unfolding of the understanding of spiritual principles and spiritual living. So, our vision, we envision a world as a sacred environment where spiritual living flourishes through the continual growth and development of learning and the application of spiritual principles. One Love Center practices compassion in service, love in action, and joyous, prosperous giving in the community. Our community has been lovingly created as a place of fellowship, meditation, prayer, sacred and healing services, musical celebration, classes, workshops, and spiritual film. So we welcome everyone. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome. And when we do this, we do it from our heart, space, from our place of inclusion and just knowing, yes, we are all one. And so we recognize the splendor of the infinite divine spirit that is you. And please know that we support you in being the best you choose to be in this glorious life. And we thank you for celebrating spirit with us today. Welcome to a place where love grows. Welcome to One Love Center for Spiritual Living. Yeah. So next, like to talk about, well, before I introduce our guests, we're going to start with our opening prayer. And that I like to call it evocation. And that is evoking the word of the divine, evoking it from the inside out, instead of trying to bring it in. No, we know that the place of the divine, as we already sang, is from within. All right, so I invite you all to join me for this opening prayer. Allow yourself to be in the stillness, in the silence, just for a moment if you can. I invite you to feel free to close your eyes to perhaps eliminate any visual distractions. And if your eyes are open, see it all as one, all as of the divine, because there's only one. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is whole, perfect, and complete. And that life is my life now. It's the life of each and every one, everywhere. Always has been, always will be. Oh, how wonderful it is to know that once again we get to meet here. We get to explore in conversation, in contemplation of the truth by spiritual nature, spiritual law, spiritual education, the unfolding of the truth from within each and every listener, each and every participant. And so I know that how grateful I am to be of this number, of the number one, of which each and every one of us is. I'm so glad to have our guest, Rev Abena, present and accounted for in sharing the divine word in the way that she has been called to do. I know I give thanks for all those who are watching live or watching a recording. Bless you and thank you for knowing that there is something that is needed to be heard and needed to be felt and needed to be shared. And so for this and so much more, I give thanks knowing that each one is moved from the edge to a new edge. Because that's what we're talking about. From the unknown to the known. And then a new unknown, perhaps. So for this, I am also grateful. And knowing that, yes, our lives are transforming by means of One Love Center for Spiritual Living Sunday Conversation. And knowing that it is already so, it's already done in the mind of the divine. I'm not calling it fate. I'm just saying, yes, the ground is prepared for us to play in prayer, in our preparation for each and every moment. So I release this prayer. I release this knowing. I release this treatment to the divine action of the law that knows what to do with this word, with this intention, the inspiration for each of us. So I'm knowing that, yeah, it's already done in grand fashion. And I release this word to the law, again, knows what to do, how to do it, when to do it. I simply allow it to be the good that it unfolds to be right here, right now. And I affirm it and invite each one to affirm it by saying, and so it is, and now it is. Yes, thank you. And yes, we are prayer professionals, ready, willing, and able to remind you that spirit is the power, charged and already always within you for your immediate use. And you can put in a prayer request, and we request that you make a request so that we may be of service in this way. And you can send a prayer request to oneLove@onelovecenter.org, or you can leave a voice message at 646-685-3344. And please know that All your prayer requests are kept in the strictest of confidence. And you can also leave a prayer request with Centers for Spiritual Living World Ministry of Prayer. And their email is oneprayer@csl.org, or you can call them at 424-235-4326. Again, we keep all prayer requests in the strictest of confidence. Our request also is that you follow up and let us know when your prayer is answered. And if it's not answered, let us know. And we will continue to pray for another 7 days. And if you need more time, more in-depth time with us as practitioners, and that is at a fee, not a problem, not an issue, just let us know and we will continue. And no one is turned away. So use us. That's why we're here. Oh yeah, it's our guest, Rev Abena O, who's been with us before. She's a wonderful divine spirit. She's was in attendance with One Love Center for Spiritual Living, and she's just a wonderful delight. She's a woman of many talents. She's an author. She's practiced in other spiritual paths as well, Yoruba, to name one. And she has a daily devotional, I'll call it, providing a wonderful way to start your day. So let's bring to the picture. Let's bring it to the stage. Reverend Abena.
Hello. Hello.
Awaken the divine. Woo. You say, awaken thou that sleepeth, right?
Right.
To your divinity. Yes. So thank you for joining us again. And thank you for being with us when you're not on camera. You know, I always appreciate your comments and your knowing that you are here, you are there, and here with us. And so basically, we are talking about the edge of the known. And it's a way of looking at the edge from the inner realm, not so much the outer, but in a collective way, how we get to do it from the inside. And what might we discover together if we dare to step into the silence beyond words? That's kind of like what we're working with today. So anything that you want to mention before we go even deeper?
Well, I've been meditating for many years now, but as I've gotten older, I realized that you don't have to really set a time or anything to be silent. It's not necessary. Being silent, which is since I've been retired, I've been able to just be in my house and no music, no TV, no nothing, and just be with me.
Yeah.
So I would like to bring that to everyone, because so many people ask me, well, how do I meditate? And I said, why don't you just start being silent? Turn off the TV, turn off the radio, turn off the phone. Don't look at your phone, and just be in silence. I said, you'll be surprised the information that comes to you.
That's great. That's great. Boy, we're starting off with some serious nuggets. That is powerful. And many times, I got to admit, I remember when it was difficult for myself to be in the silence because I was not used to it. We talk about what lies beyond the familiar. I wanted to keep my eyes open so I could see everything at all times, and I felt that I had more faith and trust only in what I could see and only what I could gauge for myself. With my eyes closed, I wasn't necessarily afraid of the dark. I didn't have to have a light on when I went to sleep, but just being still and 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 just sitting with my eyes closed and knowing that stuff is going on around me somewhere. I didn't really feel comfortable, like falling asleep in the subway. You're like, no, I'm not. you know,
I think that has something to do with being a New Yorker. New Yorkers don't trust anything.
right? Yeah, So, however, I mean, now I would be more comfortable closing my eyes on the subway or in a bus, or, or a plane, and just feel like, yeah, I'm trusting in my surroundings because I'm trusting more on the inside, and I'm trusting more of that, as you say, awaken the divine. More awake to the divine within me, knowing that it's not just me. The divine is everything around me. Because again, we talk about oneness. So I'm going to bring up about EDGE. And many of you know I love acronyms, and we're talking about the edge of known. And so, what did that mean for me? Well, living from the edge, and especially thinking about from the silence. I have my acronym for EDGE, and all of you can make your own if you like, or you can use mine. It's called Embracing Divine Grounding Emergence. All right, so that sounds a little deep, but basically for me is the grounding emergence. It's like, yes, when I go into the silence, when I meditate, I'm feeling grounded. And what happens that even before I open my eyes, that divine, that spirit, that energy is emerging and already preparing the way for me. That's why it's so great to meditate in the morning, like as soon as you wake up, even before you open your eyes. Like Rev Abena, what you said, like, don't look at the phone, don't look at all these other things, embrace that divine and be grounded before you emerge into your presentation in the world and of the world. So did anything speak to you about that before we move to the next one?
Yeah, I'm just on the matter of the phone in and of itself. I think you called me one morning and you said, "Oh, did you see my email?" And I said, "No, I don't look at my phone until like 12, 1 o'clock." I just don't look at it, because once I start looking at it, then I start getting involved with the noise and the chaos and the everything, and I don't want to start my day like that. Mm-hmm. And I find when I don't start my day like that, things go smoother. You're not into that. You're not into the chaos that's going on in the world, and there's a lot of chaos going on, personally and out in the world. Yeah. So you want to start your day in peace and silence, which is wonderful. Look out the window, look at the birds. Do something that doesn't require that you get involved with what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the next one, what I realized is that there is a cycle with our living on the edge. It's like we never arrive permanently. Yes, I have arrived, but that's not it. Guess what? There's more. It's a cycle, and generally we cycle from fear to courage to faith. Now, when we have a lot of practice under our belts or our experience, it may not even be fear. It could be a thought. It doesn't have to be a fear thought. And the courage, if there is fear, then we cycle to courage. And then we move from courage to living on faith. And yeah, that happens on the edge. And most of the time when we're from the unknown, there is going to be moments of fear. Now, we don't have to be fearful of the word fear. We don't have to be fearful of fear. It comes up, but it doesn't uh, is teaching we're teaching a class of about the soul, and I wanted to remind people about our feelings. And it's a fact that we feel, but feelings aren't fact. And one of our dear friends, Ricky, used to say, "I have feelings. Feelings don't have me." Yeah, and fear doesn't have to have us. We have fear, but it doesn't have to own us unless we let it. you know, and so yeah, so many times we are starting off at the edge, and if we're not grounded, what happens? There's really less of a chance that we're going to move into creating what becomes known. Because if I just sit with my eyes closed, yeah, I could be meditating, but after a while, I have to engage. I'm creating life or co-creating life, and yeah, I have to have a certain amount of awareness and openness and create the knowing. So anyway, I just wanted to introduce what came to me, the acronym for EDGE, and embracing a divine guidance or divine grounding. What was that other E? Emerging.
Emergent.
Yes, emergence. Yeah. So, but anyway, so let's go to our first quote. You want to do that one first?
Okay. We are on the path of experience, just waking to the real fact of our true being. As we awake, we find we are surrounded by many false conditions, but there is something within which reminds the real state. Yeah. Reflection. Where in my life am I remembering my true spiritual nature, even while false conditions still appear around me? Wow. I try not to have too many. I try not to get too far into the false conditions, but they do come around. I find that you know there's something going on with me. This is a personal thing. That stuff from way back when is showing its face again, and it's like I have to. I'm reliving it in my mind, but I've also realized that I have a different response to it.
Mm.
Than what I did the first time it came up, and the second time or the third time. So I think that that's when you realize that you're awakening to who you really are, the real you, because your response to things is not the same. Your response is not based on fear or with everything is fear in my mind. So you respond to things differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's thank you for bringing that up. It reminds me of one of those little quirky sayings. Sometimes people think you're being a wise guy, not you, but if someone were to say this, and it's, well, how's that working for you? It's like those experiences. If we don't wake up to the truth, then we keep doing them over and over again. And if we can ask that question of ourselves, well, how's that working for me? Then that's part of our awakening. That's part of our remembering our real state. Because those false conditions can seem very real,
Right.
if we allow them to. And the fact that it's scary. It says we find we are surrounded by many false conditions. It's like even before we leave our door, sometimes like you said, you pick up the phone and there are false conditions just waiting, especially if you're connected to the internet. You don't have to turn on your computer. It's on your phone.
Right.
And I forgot what they call it, fake news and all this other stuff, and it's like, well, what's my real state? My
Right.
real state isn't dependent on what goes on around me. Like you mentioned, it's like, are we responding or are we reacting? If I'm reacting, then I've lost touch with my real state. Anyway, and anybody who's watching, please feel free to chime in. Okay. And even if you're watching a recording, you can still type into the comment and we'll see it. And so the next quote says the pent up energy of life and the possibility of further human evolution work through man's imagination and will. The time is now. The place is where we are. Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind, page 151. And I love that because I'm always a fan of the now. And the time is now. And the place reminds me of when I was working on my personal transformation. And it felt like I was in the dark. I was changing my beliefs and changing my lifestyle, no longer using excuses or substances or anything to try to cover up what I felt about myself, which wasn't the truth anyway. But anyway, one of the teachings was take a look at your feet and you're right where you're supposed to be. I was like, well, okay, that made sense for me. And right everywhere we are is the possibility for our imagination and will to work for us, to use our energy in positive and uplifting ways. And to me, that's really what it's about. And I just want to mention to everyone who's listening, if this is your first time hearing anything like this, there's a reason why you are hearing it now. Okay. And it's the beginning. You can help yourself with maybe further study, watch more of go to our archives on YouTube or Facebook and maybe watch other centers of truth who are talking this kind of talk, metaphysics or spiritual talk, and gain in your understanding of how this can work for you. And
Right.
so, Reverend Abena, what comes up for you with this?
Yeah, as you were talking about when you first began your studies into this spiritual practice, I came from church, Pentecostal at that, And when I started reading, and I met a gentleman who has made this transition now. He was an older man, and he introduced me to Science of Mind, to be exact. And when I started reading this, there was something in me that said, yeah, this is it. But I was so ingrained in the fear coming out of the church that it took me a very long time to embrace the teaching, because I really thought that if I thought anything other than what was being told to me in the church, that I was definitely on a fast train, right to hell.
The fast track to hell.
The fast train, a direct flight right there. Going to meet the devil in person.
And forgiveness
so it took me a long time.
Right. Yeah. Forgiveness is not a stop on that.
No
journey.
stop. But in that process, of going through that fear, and I finally, the same gentleman said, I was telling him, well, what about this? What I was going through the Bible and everything. And he said, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to live in this life right now, you already have.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that for me was like my turning point. Then he said, why don't you just do, Test these things that you're being told. See if it works.
Mm-hmm.
And that began my cycle. So for all those whoever's listening, maybe they're coming out of the church also, and they're coming out of, the church, whatever practice, the religious practice you are in, because that's not necessarily this the church, get that courage to test what you're being shown, what the universe is showing you. See if it works for you. And if it does, go a little further. That's where the faith comes in.
Yeah. And it's great. Now, the thing about what we practice is, let's say it's religious science, which it is, also called now Census for Spiritual Living, but science of mind and spirit. The main thing that made a difference for me was when I heard, it doesn't matter what religion you practice, this is a philosophy, right. It's about, as you mentioned, it's about introspection. It's about question your thoughts, question your belief. You don't have to throw out your religion, just get a deeper understanding of it, how, and recognize that all of these religions have a spiritual basis. So there might be different ways of practicing the religions. However, they all have a spiritual basis based on spiritual law. And they all pretty much talk about love. Love is love. It's not Christian love or Jewish love or Muslim love. Love is not defined by religion. It's a spiritual awareness, spiritual aspect of who we are, love. And it's of the spirit, it's of the one, it's of God, it's of the creator, and that's spirit. And so when we are looking at being in the silence, it reminds me of an organization I'm a member of, New York City Works. And we had a lot of different members around the world. And one of the activities that they did was called Yoga for Peace. And there were people around the world who would do yoga positions in the silence, focusing on peace. And this is really powerful. Every now and then you'll hear something will come up and you'll hear about an opportunity to meditate for peace or whatever it is, for health and well-being. Like when COVID was going around, there's a lot of silent meditations about health and, that kind of awareness. So, but it begins with us. However, it begins with us with that belief and knowing about being silent and adding that silence to a community. But however, it still begins with us. What's the next quote? You want to handle that one?
Oh, yeah. To break one's own patterns down, to enter the space of truly not knowing what to do differently and surrendering to that is miraculous work that requires strength, repetition, and practice. And your reflection is, what pattern am I being invited to surrender? And can I trust the sacred strength required to sit in the unknown?
So, yeah, wow. Go for it.
Right now, I'm gonna do what's going on with me right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's for a better word, a personality trait that I've been carrying with me, where I feel I call it the Jesus syndrome, where I think I could save everybody, and right, and I have began to realize that everyone is going in their own path. They have their own path, and unless somebody actually asks you for help, you need to mind your business. The minding my business is the hard part. And so it is a sacred strength for me to be able to listen to someone tell me their struggles or whatever they're going through, and not feel the urge to save them.
Yeah.
Unless they ask for it. And so that's what's going on with me. It is me requiring me to sit in that unknown,
Mm-hmm.
to not do that and impose myself on this person and allow people to go through the path that they're going through.
And yeah, that would definitely have us on the edge. And I love how it says it's miraculous work when we surrender. However, it says it requires strength, repetition, and practice, and which means it's not one and done. Because usually I find that these situations will continue to happen, and I have to be consistent. And it certainly happens with people. It not that it's not the person's fault or there's no blame.
Mm-hmm.
It's only that, wait a minute, what am I going to do? Like how we ask ourselves now, what is mine to do? And if I don't ask, most of the time I'm going to end up default to how I usually act.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, where I am, or I can always travel. It's like it's so funny. A friend years ago gave me a book. I didn't realize at first that it was a bit sarcastic and a joke. It was called The Action Hero's Handbook. And she said she gave it to me because I was like at her beck and call. It was like 3 a.m. Oh, I got a flat tire. I'd jump out of bed and rush to help, or push the car, or whatever needed to be done. Or she had a flood, I'd run over there. She wouldn't call her boyfriends, or she'd call me. So I was the action hero, in her life and other people's lives. And I never read the book. And then when I was taking books off my bookshelf, and I crack open a book, and it's serious. I'm thinking, oh, this is a joke, And no, it was serious about all these different ways to be an action hero. I'm like, oh my goodness. And me breaking that habit was not easy. And it was me that had to break the habit of reacting to, those situations. To how did we say it before? To the different conditions that are just waiting for us to open our eyes. It's like, or to answer that phone.
Right.
So yeah, I commend you on that, because
well, what I've also noticed, and I'm going to tell everyone that until you respond, until you make the correction, I guess you could say, you're going to keep getting the same thing happen to you over and over again. It just keeps happening until it gets into you. Say, wait a minute, maybe I need to change. Maybe I need to do something here.
Right. And we will keep getting that invitation. And it's not an invitation to submit. It's an invitation to, like it says, to surrender. Right. So, again, if anybody wanted to contribute a comment, have you had invitations to surrender, to your highest and best, or the highest and best for the community? Because I have to admit, running to the aid of someone all the time, what I think is their aid, I think they need help, and only I can provide, is that really serving them?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's that. I call it the Jesus syndrome. you know, and I don't know if that's because of the fact that I'm gonna put a positive light on that.
Yeah.
I believe that may be a fact that inwardly, we want people, to be free and to be able to live, without the struggle. And inwardly, that's what we want. But we
Yeah.
don't serve the person by doing that. We're not really
Right.
serving the person by doing that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because otherwise they'll never get the strength they need to move through their circumstances. Like
Exactly.
a bird, coming out of an egg, they have to break through themselves to strengthen their neck. Otherwise, they won't
Right.
be able to hold their neck up,
Right.
hold their
Right.
head up. I mean,
Right.
so they have to peck. They get the strength to peck through that situation, that egg, and it's designed for that, to break. It's designed
Right.
for them to break out, to break through. But if we're trying to open it up for them at every opportunity, then they'll never have the breakthrough they need to carry on in life if we're not around. Yeah. Or when we're not around.
Right.
Yeah. Good. We have another quote. Just bring that up. It says, to discover that the many are the one and that the one is the many, it is to realize that both are words and noises representing what is at once obvious to sense and feeling, and an enigma to logic and description. Alan Watts, The Wisdom of Insecurity. And it really is interesting that that one and many are considered noise. Because when we're in the silence, then there's nothing that really seemingly exists on the outside of us. It's like we don't have to make decisions or judgments about anything. All we know is that we are in a silence, and that is where our power is. And I like what the noise only seems obvious when we're in the silence. When we're in the noise, it just seems like this is natural and normal. When we're in the silence and come out of the silence, and then we start making criticisms and judgments, and we could be right. However, it's not necessarily logical, and the description could be whatever we make it to be. Doesn't mean we're right or wrong, or maybe we're both right and wrong.
Right.
But it's just so, and this really is talking about living from the silence, from being on the edge, where, we could go back the other way, but no, let me get the strength I can in the silence and realize that, they're the one and the many. There's a whole lot of judgment in that. And I can let all that go. Did you want to mention anything before we talk about the reflection?
No, what you said was right on point, sort of.
All right. And so
right
the reflection,
yeah.
Thanks. It says, where can I soften my need to logically understand life and instead feel the unity that already exists? I personally, usually when I am trying to logically understand life is when I realize that I need to soften it. It's like in that moment when I think it makes sense, it's like I think, therefore I am no, that's when I need to be still. When I'm trying to make sense of it all.
Mm.
And how could I possibly know it all? And only again, when I get into the silence, I go into the unity of it all. Yeah, then it starts to feel that there is only one. It starts to feel not even only one, that one is all there is.
Right.
And that encompasses everything. So my understanding of life is an understanding of oneness, which means pretty much anything goes. you know, and who am I to whittle it down to have to be only my viewpoint?
Right. Right.
Mm.
And sometimes the viewpoint that we have is still one-sided because we're not
Oh,
we're not looking at all the various sides because we can't see all the various sides. We
that's
only can
right.
see what we recognize as being truth.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it takes
So
practice to have what I call a God's eye view.
right.
You know, when we are aligned in unity, then yes, I can be operating from that God's eye view, and the I am,
Right.
because I am so aligned with the true truth of my nature that yes, I'm not saying it's my viewpoint. No, it's how God sees life,
Right.
and that is as one, as unity. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So you want me to read?
Yes, please.
One of the essential tools of faith is imagination. Every journey into the unknown requires imagination, the ability to see things that are not yet visible or manifest.
Mm.
And I'm just going to read the reflection. What unseen possibility is asking me to imagine it into being before it becomes visual?
Mm. Go for
Wow. Hmm.
it. Well, you already started off
I
the conversation.
yeah, I as a child had a very vivid imagination. Um and as an adult I still have it. But I think um that's where the courage and in the other reading that we had, you talk about courage and faith. I think that's where that courage comes in, to be able to have the courage to know that your imagination is real. Your imagination is real. That whatever it is that you're imagining is already real, is already done. And that what you're doing, the faith is you're just waiting for you to be able to see it with your physical eyes, or feel it with your emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a hard thing for me to explain, because in my head I understand it, but we have to we unfortunately we have to use words in our mouth, and sometimes that the translation from what's going on in our mind that we understand, trying to translate so others could understand it become
Uh-huh.
very difficult. But
No,
I see. Uh-huh.
oh, go ahead.
No,
I was
go
going to
ahead.
say that the name of the book, "The Wisdom of Not Knowing," uh, is very interesting. That's by Estelle Frankel on page 34. It's this quote really states for me is that every journey that we've ever been on is into the unknown.
Mm,
And look, yet here we are. And I'm talking about anybody watching this. Think for yourselves. I mean, if you journey across the street to get food, you don't know what's on the other side. You step off the curb and you go out your door, and that whole journey, there is something that will be unfamiliar. Yeah, and that's just life. Life is always changing. But I think about what you mentioned earlier, that you told us that you might have been off camera, that you were moving from Florida to another state. And I'm pretty sure you don't know everything that's going to be happening where you're moving to. So that's your, and some state, you're talking about your imagination. Okay. And then there's an unknown part that you're using your imagination. I like to think of a magician, because that's part of the word imagination, magician, if you see it in there. And you see, like, magi, I am, that magician. And magicians work with things that are there. And they practice very hard. Us not seeing everything.
Right.
They're very good at hiding things, but it's all there. And so to see things that are not yet visible or manifest is being doing your work as a magician, and trusting the wisdom of the not knowing. So you can make a decision. You've already made a decision, and your imagination is already taking you on a journey to another state, to another city, to who knows what's next.
Right.
So that's powerful.
That same imagination got me in Florida. Oh,
But you get to use it differently this time.
exactly.
Because as it says under your name, you're awakening the divine. Those decisions are now, like we spoke earlier, we have some experience, and we don't have to repeat the same thing. You can use that same energy in a different way.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Very good. I think we have one more quote. If not, let's see. Well, actually, we have a contemplative question for everybody. It says, as I awaken to my true nature, how am I being invited through imagination, surrender, and courageous presence to participate consciously in my own evolution and the unfolding unity of all life? So again, this is how we participate on the great scale, on the great stage of awakening our own selves to the truth, to the unfolding unity of all life, so that we can embrace the unity, all ones of the one, through the silence, and then emerging from the silence in a grounded way for the greater good of all. So that's a mouthful. However, whoever is reading this, feel free to respond to it, to answer it, to question it. Whatever comes up for you, just put it into the comments. Yeah. Did you have a comment about that?
Wow. I'm going to make this a little personal. When I had most of my awakenings have happened to me when I go through a challenge, or a perceived challenge, because I stopped saying I'm going through a challenge, because it's what I'm perceiving as being a challenge. But in my life, those challenges have been teaching tools, and after I go through the challenge, in my silence, I realize, had I not gone through that particular challenge, I would not have gotten to an understanding of a certain aspect of life, or been able to do a certain thing. It's due those challenges that I've had it. So and also there is a part of you when you go through a challenge. At some point with me, I'm gonna make this very personal, I had to surrender.
Yeah.
And usually my surrender is, okay, I've done everything I can. Now, God, do what you're supposed to do. I don't know what, I'm tired of this right now. Do what you have to do, okay? Because, I do that total surrender. And I realize once that surrender comes, then it's like clockwork. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And like I'm standing there saying, oh, was that kind of easy?
Yeah, yeah.
So I always tell people that sometimes you have to get to that point where you are going to surrender. I don't say do it like me, because when I pray, I don't pray like other people. I pray like I talking to my friend.
Mhm.
you know, like what's going on. Okay, can you give me a break here? Uh, so, um, but it is that it's very important that I find it for me, and I'm going to say this for probably a number of people, is when you do that total surrender, that you begin to see how that my jai works,
Yeah,
and it will work. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, it is. And you can we can also call those challenging situations opportunities to
Right.
surrender. Opportunities to practice the spiritual tools to move through them. Whether it's a challenge or an opportunity, we're moving through. We're
Right.
not going over, around, or under. You especially not under.
Right.
We're
Right.
going through. We're moving through. And
Right.
one of the things we use to move through is affirmations. And it takes practice. Affirmations are really, they're not one and done. Affirmations, uh, like when you're watching this, write them down or take a picture or a screenshot. And so use them all week long. And you'll really get the feeling of what they're about and how they apply in your life. So here's how we do it. Uh, we invite each one to take a breath, release the breath, and recite the affirmation, and we do each one twice. So I'll go first, and you can go second, and I'll do the last one. So I invite each one to take a breath. And just allow yourself a moment of stillness is really all you need to meditate. There's no, it's not on the clock. Okay. Uh, so you can meditate in 5 seconds and get some benefit from it, especially if you do it on a regular basis. Uh, so take a breath and give a breath. Exhale. It is so that I trust a mystery beyond what I can explain. Let's take a breath and do that again. It is so that I trust a mystery beyond what I can explain. Okay.
Yes. Let's take another breath and exhale. It is so that when we dare to be silent together, new wisdom rise from the sacred mystery within and among us. And
Let's do that
again,
again. Mhm.
it is so that when we dare to be silent together, new wisdom rises from the sacred mystery within and among us.
Yes, let's take a breath. Take all that in and release. It is so that as I trust the mystery I cannot explain, the living spirit speaks clearly through stillness. Let's take a breath. It is so that as I trust the mystery I cannot explain, the living spirit speaks clearly through stillness. It is so, and so it is, and now it is. Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. So at this point, uh, Reverend Abena, we're going to call you back after this prayer. And this is a grounding treatment, meaning that whatever and all that we talked about, we're putting it into prayer to help solidify it a bit more into our awareness. And so knowing, yes, there's only one life. That life is a life of myself, the life of Reverend Abena, of Leda, of everybody everywhere. That includes everybody. That means whoever you is, that's right. You is. You is one, because there's only one. And so I am knowing in this awareness of oneness, in this united state of conscious awareness, that yes, there's only one, and the Creator creating everything out of itself. Therefore, everything is of the one, and that includes that place that each one of us gets to go in the silence, in the stillness, that place of power, that place where each one gets grounded in truth, in knowing the unity of all life. Going into the stillness, surrendering to the truth, releasing the effects of any outside conditions, knowing that there's only one true relationship, and that's the relationship the divine has with itself. Knowing that the divine says, how do I love me? Let me count the ways, and made everything out of itself. And so I am knowing that because of this, there's only one relationship, there's only one love, there's only one expression, and there are individualized expressions of the one. And so therefore, in truth, there is no reason for strife, no reason for hate, no reason for conflict, war, confusion. There's only one. And there's no earthly or heavenly reason why one gets to argue with one, with itself. No. The truth is that, yes, there is only one life. And each individualized expression of this life gains with a deeper understanding, a deeper awareness that all are one. I am knowing that because of that each one gets to silently live this truth in all of their affairs when it comes to opening up to the divine abundance, divine prosperity. There's no reason to shout. In the silence, knowing that deep within, and maybe not even so deep, is the faith and the trust in knowing that the divine has created each and every one for a specific purpose. And all each one has to do is say yes. Is to name it and claim it. That yes, I am aware. And I know that for me to do what I am here to do, to be, to do, and to have, and for the greater good, that yes, that money is necessary. Money is needed to help provide services and products and produce, not just for me, but for each and every one. I am knowing that this is the truth when it comes to health, that each one gets to listen in a deep way to what's going on in the body. In a silence, one can hear the body speak. Shutting out the noise from those external conditions to listen deeply within. So I am knowing this and so much more as the truth for each and every one. That each one being on the edge, moving from the unknown to the known through the silence, is doing so with greater power, fearlessly, trusting, courageously, knowingly, with a divine wisdom that is ever present with every breath and every step. So for this, I speak this word into the law of divine right action that knows what to do with it, how to do it, and when to do it. And so I release this word and let it be the good that it unfolds in the here and the now. And I affirm it by saying, amen, and so it is, and now it is. Right on. And as I mentioned before, that we are prayer professionals ready, willing, and able to remind you that Spirit's the power, charged, and always already within you for your immediate use. Use us. Send us an email, onelovecenter.org, or leave a voicemail at 646-685-3344, or you can contact the World Ministry of Prayer for your prayer requests. All prayer requests are kept in the strictest of confidence. So use us. That's why we're here. And we are here because of so many of you who have said yes to who we are and what we're doing, and have provided financial assistance, of your financial abundance through your divine givingness. And you can give, go to our website, onelovecenter.org, click on donate. You can do it through PayPal or whatever means works best for you. You can also use the Cash Me app, which is $OneLoveCSL. And you can do that as another way of increasing your prosperity, abundance, awareness, and helping us continue to do what we do, how we do it. And we have an affirmation of abundance that works very well for us for so long. And I invite you to, as our practitioner Ellen always reminds us, put your hand over your heart. I like to add, just feel that vibration. That's a cosmic vibration, and it attracts. It attracts, from your divine intention. So we recite the affirmation of abundance, knowing that this vibration is already working for us before we even speak the words, and that money, as one of the many gifts of Spirit, is good. As I share my offerings, I know that I am actively creating a space to receive more gift, more money, and more good. And I am grateful for the ability to give and for the good works these gifts do in our center and in our world. And now it is. Thank you so very much. And we have some announcements. And first and foremost, we are looking for someone who would like to join us in producing this broadcast and managing the broadcast. You can, your technical assistance is needed. If you don't have the experience, we will train. And if you know somebody who might be interested, let us know. You can, again, reach out to us by phone, 646-685-3344, or email onelove@onelovecenter.org. Okay, next is our Science of Mind magazine. It's awesome, another tool where it's just juicy. There's so much going on there. There are articles, there's meditation, there's prayer, there's just so much spiritually minded information that can help you out. Now, you can get this magazine for free, at least 6 months for free. If you send us an email, let us know that you'd like to be a member of who we are and what we do. Okay, and just so you know that for today, the affirmation is, I embrace, embody, and express the power that has me and that I have had all along. I have that power to heal and to manifest a world that works for all. Yes. And yes, so if you subscribe, you can let us know that you would like to subscribe to Science of Mind magazine, and we'll start you off with 6 months free. So again, check us out. There'll be more information on our website, and if you need assistance, let us know. There's an awesome retreat coming up led by our practitioner, Ellen Suazo, called Return to Radiant Flow. And I'm not able to actually see the information there. You have to forgive me. I don't have my other eyes. But, here it is. And this will be available in the comments. Be part of the beautiful adventure in semi-private island in Pizota, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. A wonderful, beautiful place. And it's there, destinationretreat.forconsciousliving.com / reserve your spot and You'll enjoy yourself. There is a Centers for Spiritual Living convention coming up in Reno, Nevada. And that is this year. And it's going to be awesome. It's April 7th to the 10th. It's called Together in Joy, Honoring, Connecting, and Growing. We're going to have a wonderful time there. And you'll get to meet people from all over, Centers for Spiritual Living from all over the world. And a lot of workshops and music and everything. It's going to be great. Then there's Convention of the Americas, which is in Mexico. It's in Chapala, Mexico. You can go to, it's really Convention of the Americas, COTA, Las Americas at gmail.com, July 21st to the 25th. I will be there. We'll have Leda Pérez there, Ellen Suazo, people that you have heard of that you've never seen in person. You'll have a wonderful time. July 21st to the 25th. Okay. Coming up as well is the People of African Descent New Thought Group, Celebrating Our Soul. It is a New Thought conference at Unity Village, where Unity organization is. And this is August 13th to the 16th. And it's going to include keynote speakers like Reverend Dr. Sheila Keithan, and there are Unity speakers. There is independent, like Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith from Agape. There's going to be just so many. I could go on and on. I don't need to. But look them up. Go to padntg.org. Okay. And you'll find all the information, and you can register now while there's a discount. So the book of the month is Howard Thurman, The Inward Journey. And that's a great book. There are meditations in that book that address the deepest needs and aspirations of the human spirit. Yeah, definitely check it out. And you'll enjoy a lot of his works. Okay, so we're going to bring Reverend Abena back. And she's almost back. Okay. Yeah, I got it. There we go. So, and any final remarks before our closing prayer and music?
I'm very happy that you invited me again. And as usual, whenever I speak those things that I've awakened to, it just solidifies that information within me. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that.
You're very welcome. And so, do you have a blog or anything?
Yeah, I have my WhatsApp group. It's called Lessons from the Divine. It's open to everyone. It's mostly inspirational postings. I do it in the morning so that whenever you pick up your phone, you could just see something that's positive and inspirational. That's how you start your day. And I invite other people to add things. It's not just me. It's anyone who has something that they want to put on to inspire other people. You're open to do that. And also, I have a book called Awaken the Divine, and you can find that on Amazon. It's digital, or you can actually get the book. So I hope that whoever either goes on the group or reads my book will find their awakening and begin their process to remembering who they are.
All right. Great. Thank you so much. And all right, so we're going to go right into our closing prayer. And so please feel free to join us, knowing that there's only one, always one, and only one, regardless of how many times it has replicated itself in unlimited and various fashion, because, yeah, each one of us is unique. However, We all use the same tools in our transformation, in our evolution, in our enlightenment. And so I am knowing, yes, that we begin in the silence, even in the darkness, and move in wonderful ways. This is for today and every day. And let's look at that each week, each day of the week of, yes, I am grounded. Yes, I move forward from the edge, from the unknown to the known in so many different ways that seem inconsequential. Yet I know that even going to the store, that, yeah, I am venturing, I'm on a journey from the unknown, using my imagination to what becomes known. And I pass my word to Rev Abena.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Divine Presence, I give thanks for the opportunity to be here, to share my perspective on life, on the oneness of us all, on the I and I. Thank you for allowing me to have the wisdom to be able to share. I pray that all who have been listening be awakened to their divinity and know that you are, that I am, that we are one with the Creator. And so it is.
This is the truth, and so it is, and now it is. All right. Now we have a wonderful song. We have another version of our One Love and Dance Our Way out of here. Okay.
Joyous sacred celebration. We give thanks for all we are. Every soul has come so far. Love in action, service true. The divine spirit that is you. We're awakening, can't you see? Living love and living free. One love, one life, one spirit divine. One heart, one life. Your journey and mine. Where compassion flows and grace abounds. One love, where love grows, love is found. One love, where love grows all around. Yeah. Welcome to this sacred space where we honor every face. The splendor of the God in you, shining through in all you do. Learning, growing hand in hand. Together we will understand. Prosperous, giving, hearts set free. One love is our destiny. One love, one life, one spirit divine. One heart, one life. Your journey and mine. Where compassion flows and grace abounds. One love, where love grows, love is found. One love, where love grows all around. One love, where love grows all around. One love, where love grows all around. welcome home. To one love, yeah. Welcome home to one love. Where love grows, where love grows, where love grows.
Oh, love is growing all around. Woo-woo.
Can we download that? Can I download that somewhere?
I'm not sure, but we'll get it to you.
Okay.
All right,
I
that's
like
right.
that.
Oh yeah, it's a big hit. Okay.
Yeah.
Blessings, everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll see you again next week. Thank you, Rev Abena. So wonderful to have you again, and we'd love to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye,
And
everyone.
I don't know, safe travels whenever that happens.
Oh, we have to talk.